The Red Sea is once again emerging as a key flashpoint in the Middle East. Yemen's Houthi movement has claimed a new missile attack targeting Israel and renewed threats against Israeli-linked shipping, raising concerns of a broader maritime confrontation. The escalation comes as the Houthis signal a return to pressure tactics in one of the world's most critical trade corridors, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, through which roughly 12% of global trade typically passes. The latest attack comes amid growing coordination within the so-called Axis of Resistance. Shortly after the Houthi operation, Iran's Quds force commander, Esmail Qaani, unveiled what he described as a new resistance security architecture stretching across the region's most strategic waterways.
From the Strait of Hormuz to Bab el-Mandeb, and from the Persian Gulf to the Red Sea, a new security belt of the resistance will be established. The timely and powerful action by heroic Yemen is a sign of the wisdom of the resistance front. If necessary, others will also join.
The statement is significant because it links two of the world's most sensitive maritime choke points, the Strait of Hormuz and Bab el-Mandeb, into a single strategic front. It also suggests that future confrontations involving Israel could increasingly extend beyond conventional battlefields and into global shipping routes. The Houthis have previously targeted more than 100 merchant vessels during the Gaza war, disrupting international trade and forcing shipping companies to reroute traffic. With Yemen escalating again and Iran signaling a broader resistance framework, concerns are mounting that maritime pressure could become the next major front in the region's expanding conflict. The Red Sea is once again at the center of a major Middle East escalation. Yemen's Houthi-led armed forces have announced what they call a complete and total ban on Israeli maritime navigation in the Red Sea, declaring that any Israeli movement in the waterway will now be considered a legitimate military target. The announcement comes amid rising tensions involving Israel, Iran, Lebanon, and other members of the so-called Axis of Resistance.
We declare a complete and total ban on Israeli maritime navigation in the Red Sea, and we consider all enemy movements to be legitimate military targets for our armed forces from the moment this statement is issued.
The declaration followed a missile attack claimed by the Houthis against what they described as sensitive Israeli targets in the Jaffa region, part of the Tel Aviv metropolitan area. The group presented the strike as part of a broader response to developments across the region, particularly in Lebanon, Iran, and Gaza. The Houthi escalation came shortly after a strongly worded warning from Iran's Khatam al-Anbiya central headquarters. Iranian military spokesman Ebrahim Zolfagari accused Israel of repeatedly violating the ceasefire in Lebanon and expanding attacks on Beirut's southern suburbs, known as Dahiyeh.
Despite previous warnings by the Army of the Islamic Republic of Iran, the child-killing Zionist regime has crossed all red lines and, by escalating its attacks in southern Lebanon, has targeted the southern suburbs of Beirut. We had previously warned that if the crimes in the southern suburbs of Beirut expanded, we would attack targets in the occupied territories.
Iran's statement went further than a warning. Tehran directly linked future Israeli military actions in Lebanon to potential retaliation and signaled that any Israeli response to Iranian actions could trigger a broader confrontation.
The Zionist army must stop its attacks on southern Lebanon and Dahieh. If it expands its attacks on that region or responds to Iran's action, it will face more crushing and regret-inducing blows, and devastating attacks against the regime and its supporters will begin.
What makes these developments particularly significant is the apparent coordination in messaging from Tehran and Sana'a. While Iran warned of devastating consequences for Israel and its supporters, the Houthis invoked the principle of the unity of fronts, linking Iran, Lebanon, Palestine, Iraq, and Yemen into a single battlefield.
We will not stand idly by in the face of the unjust siege imposed on our people and on the peoples of the axis of jihad and resistance in Palestine, Gaza, Iran, Lebanon, and Iraq. All attempts by the enemy will fail, God willing. Our operations will continue as long as the aggression and siege against us and against the axis of jihad and resistance continue.
Beyond the missile strikes, the biggest concern may be the threat to maritime trade. The Red Sea remains one of the world's most critical shipping corridors. With Iran threatening further retaliation and the Houthis pledging continued operations, the latest statements suggest the conflict could increasingly spill across multiple fronts in the Middle East.